Alright, today we're having a look at Trouble on Halloween Platformer by PhantomStrom. Alright, so here we are in Trouble on Halloween? Trouble on Halloween? Oh no, I've forgotten my prepositions. Already, by PhantomStrom, and I wanted to take a look at this one. Now, my brain meats have just gone completely fuzzly on me, and that's okay. I can, like, really small stuff just off the jump, but can I say I really like the color schemes? Like, the kind of poppy bright purple with the... What am I doing wrong? I'm doing... There's a weird push. Like, what was up with that? I don't know, maybe that was just weird lagginess. Because you can't do LBP. I keep just completely... Stop. Just stop. Oh, maybe it's because it's trying to force a layer change? That might be it. It wouldn't be LBP. I see a secret back there. But without a little bit of wonkiness. Wonkiness does happen, but... I had been really wanting to take a look at this level. Phantom had been talking about this level on the stream, and said, as though a challenge, as though dropping the gauntlet, that the level was not good enough for our show, and I felt like I should be the one to determine that. But I am liking it so far. Not like super fast-paced yet. Possibly going to be. I see what we got to do. Got the grabinators there. Got these spoopies. I think that they're called meanies, but I thought that the meanies were the LBP2 enemies, which were sack things with horns on them. So slightly different. Liking the soundtrack, by the way. This is a jammin' song, and I appreciate it. I completely lost my train of thought, and I don't know why. I wonder if that... I wonder if that could have been trimmed down a little bit? Just to keep the level moving at a nicer pace? I like this red for hazard. That's kind of cool. Alternate hazards I do find neat when it's clear what they're supposed to be doing. What happened there? There was a thing there. Was I supposed to grab that with the grabblinators? Quite possibly. Now, clear evidence of pants. Pants on that Frankenstein's monster. And I think, we should support that. I think everybody should be wearing lower wear. Doesn't have to be pants. It could be a nice skirt. Oh, fudge! No! I'm in... This is fun. I'm enjoying this, but we gotta go back to the hub, so we're gonna talk about it there. See you there. See yas! And we're back, and Trouble on Halloween by PhantomStrom, and I'd say it's a solid on yellow square. Not really enough issues here to drag it down into orange diamond territory, but I don't know that it's necessarily a strong enough level to buff up into a green circle. It is something I should lead off with right off the bat. It is a bit of a time investment. I found my fastest playthrough was about 11 minutes. My longest playthrough was around 16 or 17 minutes, so if you're looking for something that you can just hop into and get out of, this is maybe not that. You're going to want to budget your time if you jump into this one. I think it's definitely a worthwhile play. It's definitely worth the time investment, but go in knowing that it's going to be a bit before you see the goal. The goal? Yes, the goal. To start off with the positive things, this is my 5th recording, okay? To start off with the positive things, I really like the aesthetic choices in the level. I like that there's a minimal set of materials that are used in the level, but that some of them are used to convey gameplay information really clearly to the player. I thought that was a really cool choice by PhantomStrom, but we see you've got the purple shag that's kind of making the most of the runnable environment. Your platforms are kind of made up of the purple shag. You've got that paisley, the colorable paisley material that PhantomStrom is using to indicate things to players, and then you've got, as a nice contrast, that kind of cartoony wood material that's going on, that's making up a lot of the backgrounds. I thought those are all really good material choices. The paisley in particular, the way that you've got the purple paisley is just stuff that you're going to not really be interacting with beyond just running, being platform material or ceiling material. But then you've got the red paisley in there to indicate hazards clearly to the player, and then you've got the orange paisley material that is usually indicating something that's either grabbable or traversable. You see like the grabbable blocks and the swingable bits are orange paisley. There's a wall jump section later on that uses that orange paisley. So like all of that is really clear. It's really easy to intuit by players, and I think, as I said, that was a really good choice by PhantomStrom to do. Now, as far as player communication, for the most part, things are pretty clear, like where you're supposed to be going and what you're supposed to be doing, although I do feel that it falls apart a couple of times with cameras. We've got one bit where there's a bit of a longer monkey bars section. Now, that is optional. I do want to point out that that bit's optional. It is kind of cool, though, because you got some ghosts that fade in and out holding up platforms, so that was neat. But the way that the camera is angled, it looks like you're supposed to be going off further to the left, whereas if you try to make that jump, you'll just die. And what you're supposed to do is actually get up onto those monkey bars and use them to climb back over to get a bonus score bubble, but it's a little bit confusing in that section. There's another little bit later on where you're on a platform, and the way that it's set up looks like you're supposed to be, again, going more over to the left, but you're really supposed to be grabbing onto a grabbable bit that's going to rotate and swing you upwards to move on with the level. And just the way that that's framed in the camera, it makes it look like there's nowhere to go from that section. Little bits like that I found brought it down just a teensy bit in my book. One thing that I found was a bit of a bigger issue. I've mentioned this a number of times in levels. It is a bit of a pet peeve on my end. Your mileage may vary, but I do find that this level really crams in a lot of power-ups to not really get a lot of mileage out of them. All of the power-ups that we see, you only use them the one time. You've got your Grabinator, you've got your grappling hook. There's a Paintinator. I did appreciate that the Paintinator in there was set on limited ammo, although you could go and get more ammo for it, but you don't usually see that. Generally, the Paintinators are done in infinite ammo sections. You've got like a wall jump, you've got a set of Velociraptor. Well, no, okay, the Velociraptors show up twice. I'll give it that. Velociraptors do show up in it twice. You've got like a floaty fluid section, and now this was kind of interesting because generally speaking, I don't like floaty fluid very much, but I felt like in this level it was the best power-up, and I kind of wish that PhantomStrom had elaborated on that section a little bit more. I found that the green floaty fluid material worked in with the aesthetic of the level really, really well, and it was often paired with the wood material, and it almost kind of looked like kind of a slimy cartoon tree, like, you know, these perfectly rounded foliage bits that sometimes you see when kids are drawing cartoons, and I thought like that was really cool visually, and I like the way that the floaty fluid worked in the level. I almost feel like, you know, you could take the floaty fluid and use that and replace out the grappling hook section and the wall jump section, and then you've got a little bit more continuity in how power-ups are used in the level and giving you a chance to kind of build on the power-up usage in the level. But that is something that I find I run into a lot with levels where you've got like 4 or 5 power-ups, and they're not really doing more beyond like just that one section. So that did bring it down a little bit in my book. Something that brought it up in my book, I noticed that there's a fair amount of movement in the level, not just in like the enemies that you're dealing with, although we're going to talk about those enemies a little bit more, but also like you got things that are popping up in the background, things that are swinging around. You've got ghosts. I kind of got my inspiration I was trying to figure out like how PhantomStrom had done his ghosts, and I think it's the portal material with sticker material slapped over top of it, and I really liked that effect, so that's why I kind of put it into this hub here. Really good job on those ghosts, by the way. But you've also got, like, there's a different type of ghost that goes flitting up into the background and circling around, and, like, all of those movable bits give the level a feeling of liveliness that I really did appreciate. I also appreciated the use of kind of a secret bonus bubbles in there. You've got two types of bonuses. Some bubbles that are rotating in sets of 3, and if you get all 3 of those bubbles, it'll be a 300-point bonus. And then you've got these 6 bubbles that you've got to kind of search for, and if you get all of them, then you'll get a 10,000-point bonus at the end of the level, which put me at number 1. Because your girl is not really the best, but she was the best in this level, and that's kind of nice. But I really loved those hidden square bubbles and the way that they were tracked, and it gave it a real LBP2 feel to the level, which I thought was kind of cool. Something else that kind of added to that feeling, there's a number of times in the level where PhantomStrom has put up kind of well, I mean, they're set up to look like paintings, but they're in-game photos of playing with friends, and that was something that I feel like we saw a lot in LBP2 era levels, and it does really highlight that the community side of this and playing with friends in community levels. It's something that I really didn't get a chance to experience very much in the heyday of LBP 1 and 2, and kind of, you know, it really had tapered off in LBP 3 when I was doing a lot of my own community play, and it's something that I do regret, because I wish that I had had that experience, and it was cool to see that experience kind of highlight with these photos that were put into the level. So that was neat. I really appreciated that. This is a downside. I don't want to really end on the downside, but like, it's just the way my brain meats work. So you've got these meanies in the level. The meanies had a really cool look to them. I really liked what PhantomStrom did to set them up. You've kind of got like the teeth look like they're set into the material, and that was really cool. I appreciated that an awful lot. I appreciated the fact that there were different types of meanies, and they, you know, the way that they were moving, and you had to kind of account for them. That was really neat. What I didn't find really neat was the hurt boxes on the meanies, where sometimes even when you killed the meanie, because of the way that you hit the actual enemy, you would end up dying too. I found, particularly with the meanies that were moving up and down, like the flying meanies, were frustrating to actually try to kill, and I ended up mostly avoiding them, because every time I tried to make a point of like killing every meanie in the level, I would die like 5 or 6 times trying to jump on top of some of them, just because of the way that they were set off the ground, and the way that, like I said, unless you hit the brain perfectly, you'd end up getting killed. And oftentimes, even when you did hit the brain, you would still end up getting killed. So it was like you would end up losing more points than you actually gained by just ignoring the things. I don't know a really great way to fix that, because of the way that the meanies have been set up as a hazard, but it is something that I felt was not super great. But that was kind of my thing, and I did appreciate that there were enemies in the level. I feel like we don't really see a lot of those. They're very much something that we saw a lot of in like story levels. We see them a lot, particularly in LBP 1 and LBP 2 story levels, but we don't really see them too much in community levels. So it's nice that they make an appearance. I just wish that they had kind of been handled a little bit better. I don't want to end on a negative, but I don't really have anything else to say about the level. It's a fun level. Despite the criticisms that I may have levied at it, I'm certainly glad that I got a chance to give this a play and to bring this to all of y'all. Now, I know that this is coming out post-Halloween, but it's not Halloween for me yet, so I'm gonna wish y'all a happy Halloween in the past, and also a happy birthday to LBP, because I'm recording this on LBP's birthday. I didn't realize that I didn't realize that, or I had said something about this last week for the episode that actually went up on LBP's birthday, but 14 years, that's a lot of time in an online community-based game, and we're still going, not as strong as we may have been in the past, but we're still going pretty strong, and I really, like, LBP has meant a lot to me. I wouldn't have been able to realize a lot of my own creativity without this game, and without y'all, because I work off of your work. So if y'all weren't making community levels, like, what would I even talk about? Why would I even be making these hubs and having my own creative fulfillment, you know, without levels to look at? So while I do appreciate the companies that brought this to us, the companies don't really care about us. At the end of the day, you know, it's just, they're doing their ledger sheets, they're doing their bottom lines, but y'all are who I really appreciate. Everybody in the LBP community, both in the past and the present, and hopefully into the future, you're the reason that I keep coming back to this. You're the reason that I want to make up these neat hubs, and I want to do good videos, and like, this has meant a lot to me, more than I really can talk about in the time that we've got left. So I'm not gonna, but you know, maybe I'll talk about it on stream. And that pretty much does it for us here at this Go About. So from me, Disco, here in Tokyo, to all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, arigato, sayonara, see you, and ciao.